Well, Frank, the college football regular season is complete, and now we're looking forward to the conference championships and to the college football playoffs. But let's first start talking about the Florida Gators. They finished the season 7-5 with a big win over rival Florida State.
It was an amazing turnaround, Alessandra. We've talked about it the whole time. To go from where they were after the losses to Miami and Texas A&M, everybody wanting the guy fired. Boosters raised a bunch of money to buy him out. The money was there, the angst, and give him credit. Scott Strickland said, he's my guy, and they turned it around. Those guys played for him, played well against Tennessee, which is really the turning point, I thought. Played well against Georgia, then won those games at the end against LSU, Ole Miss, and then easy time against Florida State. Now, all of a sudden, signing day is tomorrow, and it looks like they're flipping everybody in town. So what a turnaround. Give Billy Napier credit. He never buckled. The Florida program never buckled. They got a lot of work to do. They're still only a 7-5 football team. But from where they were, it's one of the great turnarounds I've seen. It really is.
I mean, this is really the first time I think ever since I've loved college football that a head coach was basically going to get fired at the beginning of the season. And now not only is he keeping his job, but this recruiting class that he's bringing in, we're talking about some local guys like Tramel Jones and Drake Stubbs. I mean, a really, really good recruiting class coming in. So the future of the Florida Gators is very bright.
You made a good point, too. Coaches rarely get off the hot seat. When you get on that hot seat, you usually at some point get fired. And at least for now, could change next year, but Billy's off the hot seat. It's going to be a really good recruiting class. Again, they've got things to do. There's still some sideline coaching things that he's got to clean up. He's got to decide if he's bringing in an offensive coordinator. You hear that out there a lot. But that's a conversation for another day. For today, give Billy Napier and those Gators credit. They really turned the corner. They really, really did.
Well, Florida State ends their season 2-10, but the big news this week is that they're bringing in Gus Malzahn, the former UCF head coach, as their offensive coordinator, and then they're also hiring Nebraska's defensive coordinator, Tony White, as the new Seminoles coordinator. What is the next steps for Mike Norvell and Florida State to try to just regroup after this horrible season?
They're up against it, Alessandra. That's what Mike's doing. He said, listen, this is it. I'm not on the hot seat now because of that buyout, but they've got to win some next year, certainly more than 2-10. I'm surprised. I can't believe FSU got that bad. I think that's the biggest surprise to me, that all of a sudden that FSU football team is no better than they are. That honest to God, it really shocked me. I think the big question now is bringing in two grown-ups as coordinators, new people, not people that he's worked with recently, and then he's got to be very active in the portal. They have not recruited well at the high school level. They're not going to have a great recruiting class this year at the high school level. So, again, he's got to be like he was in the portal before. When he went and got Keon Coleman and the likes, he's got to go get players like that all over again. Jared Verse and Braden Fisk. You hate to say it because you live by the portal, you die by the portal, but he's going to have to do it again to keep his job. FSU is a really struggling program. I'm really surprised they're as bad as they are.
Well, the Georgia Bulldogs are number 5 in the new college football playoff poll. They will be playing at number 2 Texas in the SEC Championship in Atlanta this Saturday. The second time that the Longhorns and the Bulldogs will see each other this season.
You know, a lot of people talked about this before the season. I think we even talked about it on Campus Corner. You and I did, Alessandra. That Georgia and Texas could play 3 times this year. Well, they played in the regular season. They're going to play again in the championship game. And I wouldn't be surprised if they play again in the playoffs. So you really could see it. I think Georgia, I've said it all along, and I'll still say it, I think they're one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the country. Now, look, Georgia Tech gave them all they wanted, but Georgia survived the game. Georgia, a lot of teams play them close, but Georgia finds a way to win those games most of the time. What a game that's going to be. Georgia and Texas, probably the 2 best teams in the SEC, as it should be, and both of those teams I think will be in the playoff as well. But a fantastic game coming up Saturday at 4 o'clock.
And finally, let's talk about the Miami Hurricanes. They are number 12 in the college football playoff after a disappointing loss at Syracuse this past weekend.
I think they're out, and I hate that for them because I think they've got a good program, but they played with fire too much, Alessandra. There's too many games that they barely won at the end, that they found a way. They got a close call, something went their way. Their defense never really came around. The offense was great, and it finally bit them in the last game against Syracuse. They've now lost twice. SMU and Clemson play in the championship game. I think the winner of that game obviously is in the playoff. I think the loser's out. I get the sense that the ACC is only going to have 1 team in. Now, if Clemson wins, SMU will have only lost 2 times, but I think they're out. I think SMU and Miami would be out if Clemson won. I think the only team from the ACC that's going to get in is the winner of that game this weekend. I really do. It's a shame for Miami because they had a wonderful season, but we'll know next week, but I don't think they're getting in.
Well, Frank, thank you so much, and thank you for watching Campus Corner.